I need a good intro. How would I introduce myself? There's going to be a lot of burps in here, and I think I'm going to cut out most of them, but there might be one or two that is going to stay.
It has to. It's tradition.
I hate doing this, Tony. I'm sorry. I do.
Right.
I'm Elijah Kirby, host of My First Car. I've been a local musician in the Bismarck music scene for 20 plus years, since 98, I guess. And for the most part, I was a music promoter, bringing bands and touring acts through the Bismarck, Mandan area. My first car was a 1988 POS, which stands for piece of shit. But it was actually a 88 Beretta.
What color?
Red, faded red, very faded red.
So I know from listening to past episodes that you got your car out of necessity.
Yeah, okay. So a lot of people say, I got my license late. And then they say 17, 16. I'm like, that's not late. I got mine when I was 20. The car was given to me from my father, who must have been trading up, but was also knowing that I needed my first car because I was having a child at the age of 20. I didn't have a car. Therefore, I didn't need a license.
Yep.
My transportation was a skateboard all through high school. So that wasn't even an issue or a thought. Like if I needed a ride to get across town, I'd either hitch a ride or I'd skateboard somewhere.
Were you more of a skateboarder than a biker?
Yeah, I didn't have a bike for a really long time. And that's kind of funny too, because when I did get a bike and started biking around, I'm from Williston, where it's flat. When I started biking around Bismarck, Mandan area, I didn't realize how hilly this town is.
Try biking in Seattle.
Yeah, yeah. Well, that's what it felt like to me.
Yeah.
I just...
Yeah, if you're not used to it, any hill's a big hill.
Yeah, that saying, it's like riding a bike. But it's not. When you rode a bike in a town that was completely flat, going into a place where there's actual hills and shit. Yeah.
Who taught you how to drive?
Who taught me how to drive? My uncle did. He took me out a little bit and taught me how to drive in his car. I don't know what it was. But it wasn't really teaching me how to drive. He would be driving and we'd go on road trips and he would be listening to Bob Seger and he'd start dancing in the car and he'd say, "You got to grab the wheel." And he'd just be dancing and I grab the wheel and I'm like, okay, well, I can only do this for a little bit. We're driving through the Badlands. Okay, we're coming around a turn. I can't do this. And then he'd grab the wheel and turn and then he'd start dancing again. All right, you take the wheel.
Is this your Uncle DW?
No, this is my uncle Java. He went by. He was a biker.
Oh.
His nickname was Java.
Okay.
I'm not sure how he got that name or why. Maybe he drank a lot of coffee.
Your Uncle DW's episodes was one of my favorites. I got to say, I'm a big fan of the show. I haven't missed an episode. But your mom's episode was my favorite. Like, you could have her on another time too and probably fill in all kinds of stories that she forgot about.
Oh my God. Yeah. And then after we did that episode, she was like, "Oh, did I tell you about the time I was dating this mobster and we got shot at?" I'm like, "No, you didn't tell me about that."
That lady's full of good stories. I really enjoyed that one.
Well, thank you. And that was so impromptu, too, because I came to a moment where somebody was canceling over and over. I'd get one guest, and then they canceled. And I'm like, I need an episode for this week. Mom, can you come on? And then she came on and told me her story. And it was short, but it was sweet.
Yeah. How long did you have your car?
Yeah, I don't think I had it that long. Maybe a couple years. It doesn't seem like it. It was so quick and not really memorable for me. That's why I didn't do my first car story, because I didn't really have any good stories.
Yeah.
You know, like I said, I was having a child at the age of 20, needed a vehicle. My dad gave me his. It was a 5-speed, 2-door Beretta. I didn't like it at first. A lot of people really miss their first car. I don't. Maybe because I guess I'm not really sure why. I just didn't care for it. I love 5-speeds now.
Yeah.
I prefer to drive it like that. You know, I have a pickup that now I love. Now I love pickups. But this car at the time was... Well, I didn't know how to drive a 5-speed for starters. You know, you just have to learn once you get it.
Yep.
And nobody really taught me how to. I just kind of figured it out. So when my dad dropped it off at my apartment building, kind of left it in my space, I just figured it out from there. Like trying to back out of that space, because it was kind of on a hill.
Yeah.
But not a big hill, just a little incline. So you kind of have that, like, give it a little gas and then you gun it. I remember one time on 3rd Street coming up that hill and being stuck at that light on 3rd and Front.
Okay.
And then it turned green and I killed it. And I'm like, fuck. Restart it. All right, put in the clutch. Get ready to go. Fucking kill it. And I got somebody who keeps coming up closer and closer behind me. But every time I would try to go, I would go back a little bit.
Yep.
I'm like, I'm either going to back into you or you're going to rear end me. Eventually, I got it after a few minutes of honking and sweating and just being really frustrated. My heart's pounding. I'm like, how the fuck am I going to get out of here?
That's when you just kind of slowly back up and rest against their bumper, and then you got a good solid start.
That's what I should have done, yeah. But no, I just I just hit it right and gave it gas and just peel out of there. I'm like, fuck, all right, here we go.
Yeah, stick shift's a rough one to figure out on your own. I had a really good teacher, and I had a hard time figuring it out.
Yeah.
It takes a while to get used to.
Yeah, my pop, he never gave me the go around on that. It was just like, all right, here you go. Here's a car. You need it.
Did you ever take it on any big adventures?
No big adventures. No out of town drives. It was really just an in-town car. Parts would go out consistently. The water pump went out, the alternator, something went out at one point. I don't know what it was, the blower or something with the heater. It was winter and I'm a really stubborn person. So when whatever went out, it would just fog up the windshield in winter.
Yeah.
Like I said, I'm stubborn. I don't want to leave my car in this parking lot. I'm about half a mile away from my place. I have to get my car at least to the parking lot. I call up Nick Keanu at the time I'm friends with, and I ask him, can you at least follow me to my house? Make sure I'm, driving good. He's going to be behind me, so what help is that going to be?
Yeah.
Once we start going, the windshield just fogs up right away. So I can't see. I'm trying to rub it with one hand, drive and shift
You're not supposed
with
to do
the
that
other.
while you're driving.
Yeah, you're not. So it keeps fogging up. So I roll down the window and it's fucking dead of winter. I mean, negatives at this point for temperatures. I have to stick my head out the window like Ace Ventura. But you can only do that so much, It's cold.
Yep.
The wind's blowing on your face. I'm driving down Divide, and I just hear all these other cars honking. And I kind of stick my head out the window, and that's when I realize I'm over the line, and I'm kind of driving into the other cars. So I kind of I steer myself back into my lane a little bit. Eventually I get to my house and park it and leave it. And then I find, I call up my mechanic friends to come over and help me out on that aspect. Like all first car stories or people who don't know how to maintain a car, they don't last that fucking long,
We're putting a hot one within your reach. The 1988 Chevy Beretta. Whatever you do, don't miss it.
What I did love about this car was the dashboard had a digital display.
Yep.
For a 1988 vehicle that I got in 2001, it still seemed kind of futuristic. I felt like Knight Rider in it,
Yeah, I remember.
It didn't talk to me.
My mom's minivan had digital, and I thought that was the coolest thing. I felt like Knight Rider, too.
Yeah. The gas would deplete at a quarter tank. It would still show a quarter tank of gas on the digital display, but then it would empty out.
So
Took me way too many fucking times to learn that.
How many times did you run out?
3 times for that I remember. One time I was in an intersection and I'm just sitting in my car trying to restart it. I don't know what's going on. A guy behind me comes up and he's like, "Hey, what's going on?" I'm like, "I don't know. I'm just trying to go. The car won't go." And he's like, "I think you're out of gas." I'm like, "Oh, yeah, I think you're right too." He's like, "Well, I'm just going to push you out of the way. And then you can at least not be in my way." I'm like, "Okay." He's like, "All right, just put it in neutral and I'll come up behind you and just push you up ahead." I'm like, "All right, cool." So yeah, that's exactly what he did. He just came up, bumped me, and then I start going and I just steer it off to the side and roll a little bit. And he just kept going and waved. I'm like, "Okay, cool."
Did you ever have to roll it down a hill and pop it in gear to start it?
No, I have done that before.
I had
with
a truck. I had to
vehicle.
do that a couple different times till I got it fixed.
Yeah, that's so cool though.
Yeah.
Once I learned you could do that,
I was blown away first time
Me
I heard
too.
that.
Yeah, that is badass.
So you worked at Domino's, right?
I did, yeah.
Did you have this car then?
No, that was actually my second car. Corsica, a Cavalier. I can't remember what happened to my car. I did take a major dump, and therefore I was out of a vehicle for a while. A friend of mine, Dustin Corinta, he was playing with Dave's band,
Roost.
Roost, yeah, at the time. And he had gotten rear-ended by a drunk driver and had a pretty good settlement after that. So he got a new pickup and he sold me his car for $150, maybe $250. I think I only paid him $150.
Damn. Back when you can get now that same car, you'd probably pay $1,500, $2,000
Oh
for.
yeah, for sure. But I couldn't even pay him $150 at the time. I was in a transition where my ex and I had broken up. I fell on hard times. I was homeless for this period. I could only pay $50 a month. And this car was in rough shape. I mean, it was rear-ended, for one. I didn't realize until later, obviously. The brakes were wearing out and squealing. And I asked him about that because somebody else told me, like, well, that's a sign that the brakes are going out. And I said, "Hey, man, do I need to get new brakes on this?" He said, no. I already had it checked out. That's just from whatever happened when I was rear-ended. I'm like, okay, so I'll drive it for a period. There was one point where I'm staying at my sister's house when she had moved out of her apartment but didn't want to lose her lease or something.
Yep.
Or break her lease. So I stayed there for a couple months when she moved out, and I was parked in some area on the street where I wasn't supposed to. They put a sticker on my car. I'm like, okay, well, if I just move it 8 feet forward, it won't be in the same spot, and take the sticker off. Well, it doesn't work that way.
Yeah.
It still got fucking towed. Whatever happened when they towed it, or maybe the brakes were just completely depleted at that point. After I got it out of the impound, after scraping up enough cash to get it out of impound or whatever it was in, I drove it out of there, and then it didn't stop. I didn't have any brakes.
Oh.
I'm like, oh, fuck. And I wasn't coming into any actual traffic. I slowed down and had to put it in park.
Did you have a parking brake? I suppose you never thought of that at the time.
I don't know. I'm trying to remember. Like, would that have worked if the brakes are out?
You just kind of ease into it. And
Yeah. I honestly, I can't recall.
That's why they call it an emergency brake.
So my dumbass would just slow down to a point where I could be slow enough and then just put it in park. Conk. So I did that, like turtling it to the place I was staying at. I was staying at Adam's parents' basement at that time. And this is winter again. I had another friend follow me. Kind of a theme to that, I guess, sort of. We are getting closer to his place, and I have to make a turn to where I can park in front of his house. I have to go around the block. So when I go on the backside, I have to come down a hill. I didn't really think this through. Like I said, it's winter. There's snow piles on the sides of the streets. I come across the street, I turn, I start going down a hill. I'm like, I can't fucking stop, and I'm going too fast. I can't throw it in park. And I just start picking up speed. And I'm going, and I'm going. I'm like, fuck. And I'm coming up to a T intersection. In front of me is a park. So I have a couple of choices. I could either try and cut through the traffic here and go through the park, or there's a big snow pile over here. And that's just what I do. I just fucking turn it right into the snow pile and hit it hard and go up the thing. I hit this pretty good too. We had to dig that car out and pull it out. And then at that point, we did just pull it around. We tied it up and pulled it up to the driveway around the block and parked it, and then worked on it. And that's when Jason Birch, he was actually following me at the time. He was such a better mechanic than I was.
Yeah.
I shouldn't even say he was a better mechanic. He was more of a mechanic than I was even remotely close to. And that guy taught me a lot about my car too.
I didn't know that about him.
He was phenomenal. Yeah, and then when we got it into Adam's parents' driveway, let it sit there for a while and worked on it, then, yeah. So I've said this before, when you're poor, you stay poor in a sense because you can only afford a piece of shit vehicle.
Yep.
When that breaks down, you have to do the bare minimum maintenance that you can afford.
And do it yourself if you can.
Yes, yeah. Or have your friends help you or do it for you if they're cool enough. Yeah. And buying used parts all the time.
Yep.
Going to Johnson's.
I've never been to Johnson's.
Really?
No.
That's because you're rich.
No. Wasn't always rich.
Yeah. Rough times, man. Just, you don't have a fucking penny to your name. But we got that fixed and moved on to my third car. So every car after that only lasted a year. I'm only buying a car for $400 here and $300 there. And then I got a car for $1,000 that still lasted when I sold it, because somebody else was, I think a family member was getting rid of a car and they were going to give me that car. And I'm like, okay, well, I'm going to sell this car to Schweitzer. His car had broke down. He didn't have a car. I'm like, well, you need a car. You want to buy my car? He couldn't afford to pay for what I wanted to sell it for, which was, I think I bought it for $1,000. I wanted to sell it for $1,000. I did the same thing to him that a friend of mine did to me, charge him $50 a month.
Yep.
And he was doing that for a while. Eventually, I just kind of gave up asking him for $50 a month because I knew I was never going to eventually get to 1,000. So keep the car. We can call it good. And I'm just glad that you have a vehicle.
Yeah.
And that lasted him for a long time.
Was that not sexy? Because everybody called it no sexy, but
No
it
sexy.
It was like a 0, so it was like
N0
so
SXY.
I always thought it was not sexy.
No, it wasn't that vehicle. It was a different vehicle, I think, at the time. I don't know. I'm going to have to ask him.
Did you do deliveries at Domino's?
I did in Mandan
So
for a while.
what's the most fucked up thing you've seen at somebody's house doing deliveries?
Way too many guys would answer the door in their underwear. I don't know if they thought some hot chick was going to show up at their door or if that's just how they were.
Yeah, I guess it's never what you want to see, is it?
No, it really isn't. One time when I was training in another driver and we went to somebody's house, you don't even have to train in another driver. You can just send them on their way. But I was just bored at work. And there was this very heavyweight guy that came to the door in his underwear too. And I think it was this guy's like first experience delivering too. Yeah, I was like, well, that's what you're gonna get. That's Mandan for you.
When did you move to Bismarck from Williston?
That was in 96.
And did you play a guitar before that?
No.
You started in Bismarck?
Yeah. I never really learned to play guitar. It was...
Just figure it out?
I was in high school and my stepdad had a guitar and he was like, hey, do you want this? And I said, yeah, I want
Nice.
that. He gifted me a guitar. It wasn't birthday or Christmas or anything. It was just, here's a guitar. So I was thinking on that for a few months. I think I took it to somebody's house for some reason, not to play, just wanted to bring it there and show it to them. Wound up hearing about a party later on that night, got a ride, carried my guitar with, got dropped off at the party, walk in to this party with my guitar strapped to my back, and I set it down by the couch. And that's when I met Sam Larson. And he was like, oh, hey, you play guitar? And I'm like, yeah, yeah, I do. He's like, well, you want to start a band sometime? I'm like, yeah, I do. And that was it. We hooked up, exchanged numbers, met up, I think just at his place, jammed a couple notes here and there. He told me he has the keys to whatever church he was going to at the time.
Okay.
And that we could jam there. And that he has a drummer. I'm like, this is so fucking cool. Rode with him to the church one night, and we just jammed in this church. It was such a mind-blowing experience hearing ourselves amplified. We put microphones up to our speakers, our amps, and we're going through a sound system. And he's singing. We're just, on the stage of a church. It was just so weird and loud, and I loved it. And I was in from that point on. I can't really explain how that felt. It just...
How long had you been fiddle fucking around with the guitar up until this point?
Honestly, just a few months.
Really?
Yeah.
So bar chords, and that was about
Bar
it?
chords, yeah. Just single finger notation. All right. Paul was a shitty drummer. But I didn't know that at the time. I'm just hearing a full trap set behind me.
Yeah.
And I'm like, this is the best. We are fucking good. We're good. That's how I felt. And I loved it. We formed a band called Disrespectfully Yours. We went by DY. we started making T-shirts. We didn't have a screen print. We had spray paint.
Okay.
So we spray painted T-shirts with just a big DY, or painted on some of them, disrespectfully yours.
Stenciled or freehand?
Freehand. Yeah, there was no stenciling.
Just cut out some cardboard, man.
Yeah. I didn't even think that. And used duct tape for a few others. Really bad DIY T-shirts. And then we did our first show, I think in 98. We got to use the basement of Screaming Bean.
Oh, yeah.
You remember that place?
So that was my first experience with the music scene in Bismarck. I hadn't moved here yet, but my cousin was friends with a band called Cope. And he'd bragged them up to me for a long time, and finally I was like, all right. So I came to Bismarck to check them out, and that was my first show, was down there. And I was so lost going around the one-ways downtown when there's still one-ways.
Oh, yeah.
And I couldn't tell you where this place was, but I remember going there and then down these little shitty steps, and there's like 100 people just jammed down into there. And
Okay. So we packed so many people down there. There was never really a fire code, and there fucking should have been, because you cannot, for one, fit 100 people down there, realistically. Yeah, we would just cram people in there. And that's the only entrance, a very slim stairway down into this basement room.
I can't imagine carrying your gear up and down that, like through all the people too.
Yeah. We played with Actar 911, which was Tom Hill, Nick Keanu, and I think Dawes was in that at that time. And they played first, we played last. We played probably about half original songs and half covers. And then we ended the show with a riff. We just had a riff where we would play, and then people would come up and say whatever was on their mind. And it went on for probably a good hour afterwards, where we're just kind of jamming, and people would kind of take turns getting on the mic and just yelling what they want. It was so much fun. It was so weird too. Before our first show, I was in English class with Ruth Meberg. She was sitting behind me, and then I found out that she had played bass. So I asked her, hey, do you want to play bass in my band? And she was just in. She was so fucking good.
Yeah.
Like the best member out of all of us. She could sing. She could play bass. I don't know what she's doing these days, but hopefully something in music. She was so talented. We played for 6 months. That's when I had met Brooke Swanis, and she was probably 2-3 years younger than I was, and I'm still in high school. She's in junior high. So we had her join. From that point on, I was in probably 3-4 other bands with her. We started jamming at her place in her basement. She lived with her mom, single mom, who worked all the time and would go out of town all the time. So that was a plus. So we would start doing house shows, parties all the time, and just jamming. There was one time too when we were at the mall, and I was in a CD store. You remember those?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
A music store. This guy came up.
That young.
This guy came up to me, and he's like, hey, what do the kids do in town? And I'm like, well, we do shows, we go to concerts, stuff like that. He's like, oh, do you mind if I record you? I was like, okay. And then he pulled out this little video camera.
Yeah.
And he asked me the same question. He's like, so what do the kids do around town? I was like, it's so weird to be on camera in the moment. It's like, well, we do concerts, we jam at our place. And he's like, oh, you jam at your place? Can I come over and check that out? I'm like, okay, sure. And hung out with this guy all day. Turns out he was a roadie for Yes.
Okay.
But at that time, I never heard of Yes. I should have. Old school, classic.
Yep.
Yeah, never heard of him, didn't know. Chatted with him for a while, took him out to eat, took him over to our place where he recorded our jam session. And then he's like, you want to go back to the bus, check out what we do? I'm like, well, heck yeah. So we went back to the bus, went on to Yes's bus, or where the band was sleeping, but they were sleeping.
Did they just happen to be in town playing?
Yeah. They played a show either that night or the night before. I'm not sure. And they were just parked in the parking lot of the mall.
Oh.
And that's just where they stayed for the night. Went on the bus and they were sleeping, and he's came back out and he's like, I guess they're asleep. Can't go on that one. Let's go on the other bus. Went on the other bus where the roadies hung out, and they had a PlayStation and TV in the back of the bus. A lot of fun. Sorry.
Piggy.
Hams. These are transition moments. You know, you listen to the show.
Well, this is probably a good time to open up the request lines. I know all your listeners have questions that they want to ask that I'm just not asking. So if you guys want to call in, the number's 382-5633. Let's hear from our listeners.
That's a great number too, by the way. After Disrespectfully Yours, it was 1 year with that band. Brooke and Ruth went on to form Vertigo. Mm-hmm. And Sam and I joined up with Josh Nordwall and Tom Hill. And then we started Sugar and Spikes. That was kind of my main, I say main band, but it's kind of the one band that a lot of people remember me from.
Yep.
That didn't last as long as it seems, you know?
I think that was the first time I remember seeing you play with anybody was with Sugar and Spikes. And it might have been at a Midtowner show. And
that was, God, we did a lot of shows. That's where I was really heavy into booking bands, doing the promoting, booking venues, and getting other artists into town. Then Sam and I had a falling out, and I did this thing where I quit the band, but I said, you know what? Fuck this. I can't handle his stress, so I'm going to start another band. And if you guys want to come with me, you can. Mm-hmm. And they did. Basically, we just kind of cut Sam from the band, and we started a new band. And that was Toxic Shock Syndrome. I think we went through a couple band names beforehand. And one day, Josh called me, and he said, hey, I got it. Toxic Shock Syndrome. At the time, I'm like, what is that? He said he was taking a shit one day, and he was reading a box of tampons for something to read. And
back before we had cell phones.
He read Toxic Shock Syndrome on there. And he's like, that sounds cool. I'm like, yeah, it does. So, yeah, that was our band for a couple of years. Tom wound up joining the Army. He got out on leave. We played a couple more shows after that. At some point, when I was promoting and booking bands, I wanted more bands to fill in some spots. So I started other bands. I joined up with Dave Martell, Ben Wiesinger. Mm-hmm. We started Little Devious Me.
Yeah.
Kind of a alternative rock band.
Do you remember what year that was?
2000.
Okay, yeah, that was right when I moved into town. I think I probably saw you guys play too. I met Dave a little bit later on. He turned out to be one of my favorite Bismarck musicians. His voice is so amazing.
So amazing. That guy could have gone solo.
Yeah.
Still should. We did that act for a couple of years. At the same time, I'm still playing with TSS. And then I joined with Kelly McCormick in the Pink Slips. Mm-hmm. And that was with Brooke Swanis and Kelly. Everybody was kind of inbred, in a sense, when it came to bands, you know?
They all came from the same
cloth. Right. We did a couple albums. We did one album with Sugar and Spikes, a few albums with TSS. Pink Slips had one album. Little Devious Me had one album.
Where did you do your recording?
Most of them were Ron Higgins.
Oh, yeah.
We recorded there too, right?
Okay. We recorded 3 songs because we won that Battle of the Bands and won it. So I think 3 of our songs, 4 maybe, were recorded in Jason Birch's basement, with the vocal booth being the bathroom. And then we did...
What the fuck? Hold on. God damn it.
That's what I heard that other time. And I was like, did I set an alarm for something? Because that's my alarm tone.
I wish I had a timeline for some of these acts, but I do want to get into Wicked Darling because at some point in 2002, 3?
Wicked Darling?
Yeah. When was that? Dude?
That would have been...
Later?
05 or 06.
Oh, damn. Okay. So I'm still promoting at these times. I think I ran into Carly, and she was interested in starting a band. Fucking so long ago. I can't remember how this formed.
Yeah.
You?
All I know is I ran into you in Joker's one night, and I was asking you what you'd been up to, and you said that you'd started this thing with Carly and Jason Birch and Ryan Schweitzer, and I was like, that sounds fucking fun. So I kind of invited myself in.
Yeah. Yeah, you're like, we didn't even have a bass player at that point.
I think Schweitzer was doing it on keys.
Okay.
But then, God, that was so much fun writing those songs. It was one of my favorite bands I've ever been in.
Yeah, I kind of have to agree. At least the first iteration of this, because it changed so much for a couple of years after that. You know, members changed.
Yep.
The fucking sound changed. Our goddamn playing, our look. Ugh.
Yeah, I really wish I would have stayed around for that second album, because I heard that second album. I was like, man, I wish I would have done this.
Yeah.
Because I was kind of at the top of when I was doing recording, and I recorded our first album other than the 3 that were at Higgins. And I used to bring my recorder with to like all the shows, like everywhere, like all your shows, everything at Joker's. And I'd record everybody's shit, and then I'd charge them $20, and I'd go home and mix it down and give them a copy of it so they could hear their own show. And it was a pain in the ass because I had to go through it manually and like push pause in between everything, and you'd mess something up in between or like halfway through, and you'd have to start all over again. So I essentially had to listen to the whole night and then listen to it while I was mixing it down. Most of the time it was fun, but there was some that were just terrible to have to listen to again.
Yeah. So when Wicked Darling came around, this was one of those bands I was uber excited to play.
Yeah.
You know, we would record on a shitty tape deck and listen back and think it's the greatest shit ever.
Yeah.
The writing at the time was so much fun and unique. I got to...
Kind of effortless, too.
It really was, yeah. I felt like I got to be me.
Yeah.
You know, at that time where I wasn't trying to do anything for everybody else in the band, in a sense. I don't know how to put that, but I really did love this band. And looking back and listening to the albums, the songs, like I did this last summer over a road trip, the first stuff, as rough as it is, it's so much fun, so inspiring again, that I want to go back to those times and just jam, really. Like, we just lost Jason a few months ago, and I've prior to his passing, I was gonna get in touch with that guy again and say, hey, we should do something. You know, I've even tried reaching out to Carly, and she's so busy or something. I don't know. I never hear from her anymore.
Well, I think she has a hair studio. Is it St. Cloud? Is that where she is?
Yeah. As far as I know.
I had the most fun recording our album than I've had, like, ever doing any recording with anybody. Like, we all had such a blast, and we'd come over to my house, and do you remember the lighter? So Jason had this lighter that every time you open it up, it'd go play that song.
Yeah.
So I had him hold it up to the microphone when we were just pissing around one night when we were mixing stuff down at my house. And then Schweitzer started beatboxing. And we had this, we could hear us laughing at the end of it and stuff. So I put that on as a hidden track to the album.
That's right. I love that.
And I think that was the same couple weeks where I inhaled a paintball from a blowgun. And you got it on video somewhere, but that was the most painful thing. Oh,
Because you sucked it.
Yeah,
because instead of like blowing it,
I had to put it in the sink to get it wet, and then if I put it through the mouthpiece where you're supposed to put it through, it would have popped. So I put it through on the end and just like sucked back to try to get it to come back so I could shoot it.
And the paintball went right near
all the way. It blew up and all in my lungs, and I coughed for a good solid half hour.
You were vomiting in the sink.
I thought I was gonna have to go to the emergency room. And I know you have that on video somewhere.
Oh, yeah.
I always figured that was going to turn up on Ridiculousness someday, but now they're canceled, so I guess I'm safe. You remember the Weibo trip? That was my favorite. Oh, Jason's family had a bus that was turned into a camper. So we all come rolling up. There's this dude that had this venue, like just out in the middle of nowhere, Weibo, Montana. You can see it off the interstate when you're driving by. The couple times I drive by there, I've caught it. I was like, oh yeah, there's that place. But we roll up, and I felt like such a rock star.
Yeah. We're all in a bus, just driving through this field up to the stage. We parked off to the side. We put up a big sheet that fucking spray paint again. Didn't we just spray paint
I think
Wicked
so, yeah.
Darling on a big sheet?
Yep.
And then put that on the side of the bus. Yeah, you're right. That was... I have a few favorite shows that I've ever done, and one of them was that Weibo. What year was that?
That would have been, I think, 06.
And this guy just had farmland or a field,
and he just put a stage there and really liked to have music there, so he had a bunch of people.
Yeah.
But the trip and everything was fun for me, and looking back, it was fun. But the show was not my favorite show. I bought a 6-string bass very shortly before that, and I had just learned to start playing my bass like a piano, like tapping the strings. And we had just wrote this new song that I was so excited to play, and it just had this piano-sounding bass line to it. Right before we were going to get on stage, go to get all my stuff out of the closet, I open up my bag, and my headstock is snapped off. Somebody stepped on it.
Yeah.
And I have worst case scenario ADHD and probably on the autism spectrum a little bit. And if things don't go according to my plan, I just spiral down a hole.
Yeah.
And I flip my shit. Nobody ever owned up to stepping on it or anything.
Yeah.
But I remember throwing it like as hard as I could, and the neck stuck in the dirt, and I was just mad, and I was like, didn't know what the fuck I was gonna do. And there's a couple other bands there, so I asked the one band, I was like, do you guys have a 5-string? Because at the time, like, I could get by without a 6-string, but we wouldn't be able to play that song because my head was so spun out. I wouldn't have been able to compensate and think, okay, if I just do this, then I can still play that. And so luckily this dude had a 5-string bass, so we could get through all the show except for that song. But I was in such a state of disarray because of that I don't remember that show at all. I remember being there and having fun there up until that point.
Oh no. Well, it still sticks with me as one of my favorite shows, not just for the show itself, but the weekend.
Yeah.
It was so phenomenal. Nobody owned up to fucking up your bass, but do you have a clue as to who it was?
Kind of, but I don't know.
Yeah. Do you think it was me?
No.
Okay.
No.
Because I know it wasn't me.
No, I know it wasn't you.
But yeah, if it wasn't me and it wasn't you, has to be Adam.
Well,
or Carly.
Or Carly's friend that came with. Because they had the bedroom and everything was in a closet in there. Yep. And I don't know if they're just like walking through stuff to get to something and stepped on it. Maybe they didn't even know they did it, but it was heartbreaking.
Yeah. Fuck. I got so sick that weekend too.
Oh.
Bad cold. Couldn't breathe through my nose. We all had and Adam got super drunk and he fell on a cactus at some point. So he had some needles in his ass. Looking back now, I'm like, it was kind of a terrible weekend.
Those are the best ones later on.
Yeah, it really is.
But our CD release party was really fun too. That was my favorite show, my most memorable show. We did it down at Joker's, and I think that was our first night that we debuted Schweitzer doing the visuals.
Oh yeah,
and that was one of my favorite parts of the show. Like we went over to my house and like watched all these old horror movies and picked out, okay, this spot at like 1323, put this little clip in there, and he fucking mixed it all together. He did such a good job with that.
Yeah, back when Schweitzer was on top of shit.
Yep. And then he did play keyboards and stuff. And then, so Jason got the 909, and that opened up, oh my God, like the couple songs that we had with that on there were so good. It was Night's Angel and I think Overcome. There's a couple of them that had 909 parts, and they're like Jason composed all those parts, and then Schweitzer just played them. But you had different levels for each piece, and it was so hard to keep the levels consistent when you're playing live that finally, like after I did the recording, I just took just that track of what the 909 was, and then we gave that to Justin at Jokers. It was like, okay, here we'll signal you, and you just play this, and we weren't used to. That was the first time we'd ever just played to that track, and I think one or more of us got lost partway through it, and there's no forgiveness if you're playing along with a CD, and then the whole song was just kind of fucked after that.
Goddamn. One of my other favorite shows, I guess, was with Wicked Darling, the second iteration, where we broke up, reformed. So it must have been around the same time. So after we won that contest, Ron Higgins was like, okay, you won, I can't remember, it was like 25 hours or something of recording time. He's like, how about this? Instead of me recording you, I give you my old recording setup. It was just computer with Pro Tools 1.
Yeah.
He's like, you could record yourselves as much as you want, and that way I don't have to. Or I guess I could record you. I'm like, you know what? I'll take the computer. So I did that, took the Pro Tools, and we recorded in my apartment over a couple months. The radio station that loved us so much invited us back for a Jam the Dam.
Okay.
We played on a pontoon for some weird boat parade in the Jamestown Reservoir.
Okay.
That's one of my favorite shows. I wish you could have been there.
Yeah.
But we did a band lineup change at that point. We pulled up our gear, we put it on this pontoon, put our speakers against one side of the pontoon. We had drums, guitars, PA. Nancy came on. I think somebody else came on the boat, and there was still a couple other guys on the boat. I don't know how we all crammed on this thing and were able to play. And then they would just parade us around the reservoir. And then when we came around the shore where people were, then we start playing a song again and start jamming out. And then we'd get out, jump in the water, go swimming for a bit, get back on, dry off, and then play again. It was so wild.
Yeah, the first battle of the bands, we won because they had actual judges there that were listening to it. But the second year when we played, it was just anybody could like tell your friends like, "Hey, I played in this band." Like,
that's
go
why.
in and vote.
Yeah. It was such bullshit, kind of.
So I didn't even campaign for votes on that second one. But that second show was one of my favorite shows too, because that was when we broke the stage.
Yes.
And because I remember it was just like in slow motion, just kind of and poof, like crashes.
Yeah.
And
like,
so we picked up our shit and then just kept playing.
Damn, that was so weird. That it was like a gazebo or something.
Yeah, it just happened in slow motion too. It was like, oh fuck, here we go.
Oh fuck, here we go.
One of the hardest things about playing in bands to me is like you have to play music that everybody else wants to play, and my life is so music driven that like I only want to play what I want to play, and I don't like that compromise of having to play this fucking song that I fucking hate just because you love this song.
Oh yeah.
And I never had that problem with Wicked Darling. It was like I loved every song we played.
Yeah.
And I wish we would have done more covers too to like fill up a little bit of a night. The only cover we really did, we started doing Enjoy the Silence, and I think Jason kind of programmed a little bit of stuff into the 909 for that, but I don't think anything ever came off. But is there any covers that you wished we would have done?
You know, I know there was, and I can't think of them now. We did a Depeche Mode song.
Yeah, that was Enjoy the Silence.
Okay.
And I always wanted to do Personal Jesus too.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. Okay, because I remember hearing that the other day, and I was like, that would have. I was like, wait, we did a different Depeche Mode song. Why didn't we do this one?
Yeah. Every time I hear that song, I think, God, we should have played that song.
Yeah.
And then we were watching the 25 Rock and Roll Hall of Fame inductions last night. Cyndi Lauper was on there, and I always wanted to do Time After Time.
Oh, really?
I thought that would have been a good one to do, too.
That's funny. I used to always shit on covers. I guess my gripe was we're doing the grind. We're booking these venues. We're playing for, younger kids and trying to make original music. It always bugged me when people would just do covers. I felt like it was such a cop-out, kind of. Now that I'm getting older,
So
I see.
I do like to play covers because I like to play songs that like I said, I'm really affected by music, and I like to play stuff that makes me feel like my feet are floating off the ground, and that it happens to me quite often while I'm playing, where I have to look down to make sure I'm actually standing on the ground.
That's awesome.
And a lot of covers do that for me. It's I could give a fuck less if this person out in the audience wants to hear these songs. Like it means that much to me that I'm playing to entertain myself, and if you like it, that's fine.
Yeah. Another one too, Halloween just passed, and I put on this Elvira CD. It was just a random mix of Halloween-ish type songs. Then Monster Mash came on. I'm like, oh yeah, I forgot we covered that one.
I thought about that, we played that, and I was talking to Michelle about that one night that I was like, God damn, I forgot we played this, and I sang that.
There's actually been a few other songs like that. Like I said, I
that was
can't
out at
think
Buck
of them,
Stop
but
Junction.
I hear it.
Yeah, our Halloween show was out at Buck Stop Junction.
Yes.
That was when Tommy played with us, the Wanteds.
Oh yeah.
That was another one of my favorite shows. He was so fucking good. Like that was the first time I'd seen one person layer all of his stuff and play with he'd play his guitar line and then pump that in and get some drums going. But there's one the last song he played, he shut off his amps and he got his acoustic guitar out, and he didn't play on the stage, he played in the middle of the floor in front of everybody, and he just played this song so quiet. And I remember he just you can't shut people up. No matter how hard you tell them to shut up, not a person made a fucking peep in there. He commanded that audience, and everybody was just drawn in, and he was so good.
So many people talk about Midtowner, Stadthaus, whatever it was in that place, Amvets, Legion, but nobody really brings up the Buck Stop Junction when we're talking about great venues and shows. And I gotta say, that place had so many memorable shows.
Yeah. Buffalo Alice we played a Halloween show out there. Wicked Darling played a Halloween show. I had my wedding reception out there, and we had Ben Suki come out and played after dinner music, and then Gypsy Foot played for the rest of the night. And
nice.
It was a fucking party.
Yeah. Yeah, it's always a party out there. The cops came out to one of our shows out there. Mm-hmm. I didn't have security. I had Tom Hill and his friend Chandler, who were in the National Guard at the time. I didn't want to put up the money for security, so I paid these guys to wear their National Guard outfits and run security. The cops came out. They were cool with that for some reason, but they couldn't find anything to bust me on. So they wound up sending me something in the mail. I had to go to court for, and it was, I forgot what it was. Having an event without a permit. So I went to court. I had to pay a fine, and that was on my record for a couple years. You know how you can look yourself up under ND courts?
Yeah.
All I could find was one speeding ticket that I had, and that doing something without a permit. So stupid that they had to be so petty because they didn't find underage drinking. They didn't find whatever it was they were looking for.
Had to make something worth their time.
Exactly. Yeah.
I for that Apple Fest and the Corn Fest that they do every year, they have a blacksmith shop out there, and I'll go and work in that. Well, they have a stage set up that they have different bands play throughout the day, right next to it. So I get to sit and hear all the bands play and stuff. And watching them this last year, though, I got the itch so bad.
Are they playing outside?
Yeah.
Okay. I like playing in that hotel.
I did too.
Area.
Yeah. I actually played in there with Adam and his son Logan.
Oh, yeah.
It was my wife's dad's 80th birthday party, and we didn't tell him that we were going to do it or anything. Just brought all of our instruments in and set them up on the stage and didn't say nothing. And then later on, we just kind of got up and started playing. We learned like 5 songs, and that was really fun too. I think it was one of the last shows I ran sound for. You had the Ataris. They came through town, and that was a really fun show. Like I did recording and stuff for that too, and it was Chris Rowe gave me his address and stuff. I was like, oh yeah, I'll send you a copy. I was like, do you mind if I record? He's like, well, as long as you send me a copy and don't send it. I was like, yeah, or don't sell it. I'm like, yeah, man, no problem. And that was one of the very few things that I never even mixed down. So that's still sitting in my masters. I haven't mixed it down. So maybe one day, Chris, I'll get you a copy of that. And no, I haven't sold it or anything. But that was a really fun show too.
Yeah, they emailed me one day and said they were coming through. That's what I loved about promoting. When I started getting into music with my first band back in I hate saying it now. It used to be so easy. I'd be like, yeah, back in 98. And then as time goes on, I'm like, whoa, Jesus.
In the 1900s.
Back in the 20th century, I started booking bands by just using the internet at school. I would go into the library, get on the computer, and I would just send emails to bands. I don't even remember how I would look them up. And then I started getting responses, and I would get CDs in the mail. And then bands would say, hey, I'm going to come through on this date. I'll be in Bismarck on this date. Can you do a show? Handing out little flyers.
I love those flyers.
Making the flyers was half the fun, really. Yeah. You know, getting a design, whether you're doing it yourself or you're being like a serial killer and just cutting out letters from a magazine and pictures and then taping everything to fit onto a page and then going to the library, making a print. And then when I would make smaller ones, I would take that print, shrink it down, make like 4 sections onto one page, and then reprint that. So the quality would go down for sure. Yeah. It was as punk rock as you could get. It didn't matter as long as you could read, you know, the date and the time. And
sometimes
some
you couldn't
of the bands.
Sometimes you couldn't read does that say Corroded or Ass Nipple?
Yeah, Ass Nipple. Holy shit. That's our new band name. And at some point I signed on to Book Your Own Fucking Life, which was such a great DIY project. That was a website. It was a magazine that would come out in print. The connections just really blew up. It blew my mind there. Yeah. Boy, I wish I could remember contacts with a lot of these other acts. Because I want to go back and reach out to some of these other people. I have so many different moments with acts that kind of just came and went. Yeah. And it kind of hurts that you can't reshare that memory or that moment with somebody. Yeah. One band came through, I think it was called Twigs Tricycle. And we did a show at up north. Okay, so there was this bar, that North Bar on 83. Used to be out of town.
Burnt Creek?
Burnt Creek.
Yeah.
I don't know what the fuck happened with them, but they lost their liquor license.
Yeah, I think they're open again now.
Yeah, they are. At that point, when they lost their liquor license, I came up and I said, hey, would you guys be open to do all age shows? And this was in 2001. And the guy was like, well, yeah, we need to get some fucking people in here because we can't sell beer or alcohol or anything. And I'm like, well, I could get bands to play here. We can get some all age people to come in, and we'll just charge admission at the door and whatnot.
So I played one of those shows
that
you had out there. So it was me and Jeremy Richardson from Cope, and then this dude Pat from Center was the drummer, and we had learned like 6-8 songs, and then we like we went down to Rats. You remember Rats Lounge?
Rats Lounge.
So over Power Hour, we played there, and we went and set up all our stuff, played our gig, packed it all up, and then we headed out to the Burnt Creek and played a gig out there, and that was another one of my really
Burnt
fun
Creek.
nights.
Okay. So we changed the name to City Limits at that time. It only lasted, I don't know, a few months, half a year maybe.
Yep.
And then I think he sold it, turned into a bar again. So the all-age venue was out. In September 2001, September 10th, we had this show with Twigs Tricycle and another act. The night ended. My parents were out of town, and I went to stay at their place. The band came, stayed with me there. The next morning, one band member had slept in the van. I guess he got up early, turned on the radio, and was freaking the fuck out because he comes in, busts the door open. He's like, Jesus. Everybody wake the fuck up. We're getting bombed. And we're like, what? He's like, turn on the news. We got to fucking turn on the TV. Turn it on. You know, this is 9/11. We're like, what the fuck is going on here? At the time, we're kind of making jokes too, because trying to make it lighthearted. GW is kind of new into office, and we're thinking, making jokes like he's calling his dad, and he's like, what do I do? So weird, memorable, and awful at the same time. But a moment that I share with these bands that I'm sure they remember too. You know, I'd like to reach out to them if I can sometime. After that, they packed up the rest of their stuff and they went on their way. And I remember we went to a gas station and the lines were around the block. Every gas station, everybody wanted to get gas that day because they all thought it was going to skyrocket.
Yep.
And that it was kind of gross. That was our reaction to 9/11 was, we got to get gas. We got to fill our tanks. Ugh. Anyway, sorry. That was just a memory that popped up from doing a venue. I was pretty pumped about that place.
Yeah.
And at the time, while it lasted, it was a lot of fun.
Back to the Flyers, the last episode, you had a guy named Alex on. And hearing him talk about Youth Works and how he like found this flyer and came and like, you know, started like being in bands and stuff. And that you and Wicked Darling had influenced him. And that just kind of made me feel good. I love hearing stories about how your music influenced somebody else or deeply affected them. Do you have any other stories about like things like that had happened to you about your music affecting other people?
I know I do, but nothing that I can recite.
I had so I was in Buffalo Alice, and we did mostly covers, but we wrote a few original songs and a lot of really good songs, but there's two that I like enough that I still play to this day. And Jeremy and I and Doug Klein got together and did some recording at my house, and we covered one of those songs and put it on this little CD. So if my buddy Jeremy gives this guy a copy of this CD, and I was up jamming at his house one night, and Jeremy's like, this other guy was out there, and Jeremy's like, hey, he's like, play Old Man. I'm like, oh, okay. So I started playing it, and I see this dude, he just stands up, and he's like, dude! He's like, you're the dude! And just like freaked out, like just so excited that like I was singing this song, and I still kept playing. I was like, what the fuck is going on here? Then I find out that Jeremy gave him a copy of this CD, and it got stuck in his CD player. So it was like the only thing he could listen to for like months and months and months and months. And he wound up like just loving this song. So it was fun, like getting that reaction out of somebody.
Yeah. Oh my God, that's the best. I would have to say, not to toot my own horn. I tried to fart there. I thought I could actually toot my own horn. I've had moments of people come up, you know, and said like, yeah, you inspired me for whatever. I'm in a band. But I guess for the most part was what I'm happy about is getting people into music. So with Brooke Swanis, she was just a school drummer. Mm-hmm. And I said, hey, you should drum in my band. And then she wound up drumming in fucking multiple bands after that. Dave Martell,
Yep.
you know, somebody I was working, we were making pizza at Happy Joe's years ago.
Yeah.
And I was like, hey, start a band with me. And then he did Gypsy Foot, Anonymous Phenomenon. A lot of people that I wound up playing with, I just kind of, I saw their potential and helped them get started in a sense.
Yep.
You know, I wish I could do more of that consistently. The years go by, you know, you take a break and fuck. The older you get, you look at your watch and you're like, oh shit, has it been 4 minutes?
Yeah.
It's been like 4 years.
All of a sudden, you're an old man.
Looking in the mirror, just watching yourself degrade.
Fucking gray ass beard.
Did you say gay ass beard?
Gray ass beard.
Just kidding.
Your beard's gay ass. Mine's awesome.
But yeah, I think that's probably what I've been most proud of. Giving other people a stage to show their talents
Yep.
on. Being a promoter was one of the most stressful things that I've ever done. But when you're a promoter, you're also a babysitter.
Yeah.
All the prep that it takes to put on a show. First, I mean, you'll book a band, you know, or a band is like, hey, I want to come play here. Okay, cool. On this date, let's find a venue that's open for that date. You got to have the money to pay that venue. You got to have the money to pay the security. And then you got to book the other bands. Make sure there's plenty of other bands. I always liked having 5 bands for $5.
Yep.
$5 was, you know, I thought such a good deal
Yep.
back then.
Yeah. Anybody can come up with $5.
Yeah.
And it's
And
cheap night of entertainment.
when the show comes on, then a band cancels. So you have to find another band at the last minute. Then every band that is going to perform doesn't want to perform at the times that you give them. So you schedule a time and they're all coming to you saying, hey, I don't want to be the first band.
Yeah.
So you got to find out who's the newest band. And unfortunately, I mean, if you started a band 4 months ago or even a year ago, if these other bands have been a band for longer, you are going to be the opener.
Yep.
Then you got all this other shit, people outside in the parking lot fighting, drinking, or they're inside and they're fighting and drinking. Also the setup, you know, you have to get there early, set up the sound, the stage. You have to be there all day. If when I was in one of the bands, then I have to figure out when my band is going to play and bring in my own equipment too and set up and play. And then it's not over when the show is over because you got the tear down.
Yep.
And at that point, depending on how good of a night I had, if I'm drunk or sober, I'm still fucking tired.
Yeah.
And then you got to take all that stuff out, clean it up, sweep and mop, pack up your stuff, take that stuff to your house. Then you can't leave it in the van. You got to unpack that stuff, put it in your garage or downstairs in your basement. Every show was at least 12 hours of work.
Yep.
At least. So it got a little stressful, but it wasn't stressful at the time. It wasn't until I was done doing shows for a period. And then I realized, oh, I don't have this anxiety, or I don't know. It was kind of a release of stress that I didn't realize I had until afterwards. And
Is there still something like that going on now?
there is, yeah. I mean, Rhythm Records still has shows.
Okay. So I've been out of it for a long time now.
Yeah, yeah. There's still shows going on all the time. If anything, it's God, there's so many great bands playing right now. But not just that. I keep saying the music is really good. compared to what it was. I don't want to shit on like our bands or my friends' bands as it was back then, but the quality is there now. Nice. Our music scene is as strong, if not stronger, than it ever was. We always talk about how it's suffered here and there. And even if we were getting a bigger attendance back in the day, like we were pulling in hundreds of people for any show, even on a Tuesday. We're not getting the crowds that we used to, but I think the heart and quality is totally there. I just would like to have seen somebody other than me step up and kind of put in some of that work, and I haven't seen that, but that's okay. And that's me tooting my own horn, I guess.
But you gave a really good platform to Bismarck when there wasn't anything there, and we all who have played for you, thank you. It was
look at that, thank you. Yeah. That's all I wanted to hear.
I'll toot your horn a little bit.
Look at that.
Well, the request lines are still open. If you guys want to call in, it's 382-5633. I guess nobody listens to this shit after all. Nobody's called in yet. And also, every week, Wednesday morning is it's my ritual that I listen to my first car. Like I go to work, pop in my headphones in, and I get bugged by the coworkers like asking questions and shit and got to push pause and hate being interrupted from it. But I always listen to it. I've never missed an episode. And for all you out there that know somebody who's got good stories to tell, please have them get a hold of Elijah and get on. I need to be entertained. I'm one of 3 people that listens, and I fucking need my episodes.
Before we go, I do want to say, I guess I brought up all my bands and whatnot up to a point, 2019. After that, I found myself kind of lost as to what I was going to start doing. When I got the idea to do this show, I just ran with it. And I didn't know what it was going to be, what it was going to become. I love what it is so far. It's really taken up so much of my time now that I can have a band. This is kind of replaced a band. And I don't hate it because I'm still getting...
You will.
I'm still getting those great feels of being in a band. You know what I mean? Like when you would do a show and you would be walking out sweating and tired and you're like, fuck, everybody's leaving. But you'd have that one guy who's kind of excited. He's still at the door and he's like, man, thanks for a great show.
Yeah.
And then you would feel...
Can I help you roll up mic cables?
Well, fuck yeah, man. They're all back there. Let's do it. But just that feeling you get from one person, you could see the look on their face and that they had a great time. And that's all... That's what it was worth, Like, when I have a guest on or somebody who's listened to the show and they're like, that was great. I love that episode. That's worth it. Or even just the one guest who's like, that was therapeutic. I got to retell my story or just kind of go back in time and retell my story. I love that.
Yeah.
I guess this is what I'm going to be doing now for a bit. Although I will scale back a little bit this next year in 2026. I don't want to rush these shows. I want to have enough time to tell everybody's story and then have them edited to the best quality that I can give that person their story, The other thing is I've missed a few shows and a few weeks, and that hurt me by not releasing an episode that week.
Oh, it hurt me too. I woke up and looked and didn't see that blue dot on my first car. I was like, motherfucker.
Yeah. That being said, I will be taking a break over the holidays. I'm going to have, maybe 2 or 3 episodes after my episode here. Although I might change out the order, so this might be my last episode for the year. But anyway, I want to say happy holidays, Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, and I will see you in 2026 for sure.
Elijah, I love you, buddy. Thank you so much for being on my show.
Thanks for having me, man. Yeah, this has been great to get nostalgic and repeat some of my life story. I have so much more story to tell, but we're kind of constrained in our time. Well, so maybe if you could have me on again, that would be great.
Yeah, we'll do a greatest hits episode.
Ooh, let's do that.
Yeah.
All right. Love you, buddy.
Love you too. Bye.
Fucking nostalgia is one hell of a drug.
Yeah.